So what was your inspiration for starting Personal Finance Club?
Personal Finance Club? Well, so I sold Rent Links in 2015 when I was 34 for just over $5 million. My share after taxes was $2 million. And then I kept working for the company that bought us for 2 more years. And at that point, my net worth was like $2.9 million or something, just because of the increase in the market. And like, I was basically saving my entire paycheck. And then I quit my job. And then for a year, I did nothing. I played video games and traveled. I did nothing, at least in terms of like work stuff. And after like a year of playing video games and traveling, as cool as that was, it kind of like, there's something missing. Like there's no tension in my life. It was just like, I was just like floating through life with no, and I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, like once I hit it and I can just like go on vacation forever, like I'm gonna be so happy. But like after a year of that, for me at least, it was like, yeah, there's something missing. It was like an existential crisis. And when you like meet someone at a dinner party and they're like, what do you do? I'm like, nothing. I don't do anything. They're like, I used to do something. Want to hear about what I did a year ago? They're like, not really. I'm like, yeah, I don't blame you. And so I was like, I don't know, I like need something. And so then a friend asked me like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like if you could do anything. And I was like, I would like to host a show on, personal finance and like help people with money, because that's just like what my passion was. Like I would meet with my friends and like help them set up their Roth IRA and like learn about investing and pay off debt or whatever. And we just kind of like casually and friendly call it Personal Finance Club as a, kind of a funny joke, because it wasn't really a club. We were just friends like drinking beer and opening up Fidelity accounts or whatever. So then when in 2019, after a year of doing nothing, I was like, all right, I'm going to start Personal Finance Club for real, and bought the domain and, started the Instagram account, and yeah, that's what I do now.
So what was your, I guess, introduction to like financial literacy?
It was a long, like, fabric of my life. I was very fortunate to have parents who were good parents and financially, responsible, and set good examples for me as a child. When I was 16 and I got my 16 or 17, I got my first job ever. My dad cleverly opened up a Roth IRA in my name and basically matched dollar per dollar everything I made, because you can't contribute more to a Roth IRA than how much you actually earn. And so I think I made like $1,600 that summer. And so he put $1,600 of his own money inside of my Roth IRA. And then we like sat through and like clicked buy into mutual funds. And he taught me how to like look at mutual funds, whatever. And so I just like, that just became part of like the normal fabric of my life. And then in like my 30s, I would meet people and they'd be like, what's a mutual fund? What's a Roth IRA? What's a stock? And I was like, whoa, like this wasn't like everyone's normal experience. And that education also kind of got like put on steroids when I sold my company for $5 million. And then suddenly I went from being like kind of a broke person to having millions of dollars in the bank. And I didn't want to be like one of those garbage men who wins the lotto and then like 5 years later becomes a garbage man again because they've spent all their money. And so I like literally started reading books on personal finance and investing. And it's like, went to Amazon, bought all the books, just started reading through them. And like you read like 2 or 3 or 4 of these books and suddenly like you realize they all say the exact same thing. They say spend less than you make, invest the difference, buy and hold, buy index funds, buy for the long term. And it's like a message that is very clear when you read these books, but it's not very clear in pop culture because, to a normal person's credit, not normal, but just to someone who's not nerdy like me, to a cool person's credit, I guess, they don't want to spend their days reading investing books. So they're just doing other things with their time. And so, yeah, I wanted to like bring that common sense financial knowledge to like a different audience.
Was there a specific book or author that really resonated with you when you were doing that?
There's a lot of them. The one that, is obvious if you watch what I talk about is Jack Bogle, who's the founder of Vanguard, who's the, guy who like introduced or popularized the index fund. He like writes extensively on, when you read one of his books, like there's a book called The Little Book of Common Sense Investing, I think is what it's called. And like, I think there's like 20 or 30 chapters, and every chapter should be like why index funds are better than active management or something like that. Because like, it's just like chapter after chapter of like just these like devastating arguments in favor of index funds. And And, to his credit, like, he was part of the financial services industry, but basically set up this business because it's much, much cheaper for the end investor. And so this financial services industry, which makes like $4 trillion a year or something. Oh my God, there's someone behind you. That really freaked me out because I thought it was a mirror for a second. Wow. Do you see this person, Greg? Are we going to ignore there's a person looking at you behind you? We can't just keep going with this podcast. And plus, people like when like weird non sequiturs happen like this.
Yeah, that's my brother.
He's still looking.
You scared me there, Jeremy, because I had my door open. I was like, hold up. There's someone behind me. I was like, oh no. I was like, this is like my worst nightmare here.
Like, I know. I really had this like panicky moment where like there's like it looked like a mirror, Not that Greg and I look all that much alike, being that he's black and I'm white, but I don't know, just like
and the major height difference.
Well, only because your camera is pointed so high. I can make it look like that too. There you go. This is not going to translate well to audio. I hope you got the video of this, but for listeners, I just put the camera so like just my chin was sitting on the bottom and made me look very short.
There we go.
Well, we're talking about people. Yeah, now we all have our heads on the bottom. But before I got freaked out because I thought someone was behind me. What was I talking about?
Jack Bogle and how it's affordable.
Jack Bogle. Right. And so he talks about next ones. And so, yeah, that's the guy that I would say is my hero. But, I love like Millionaire Next Door or The Simple Path to Wealth or, I don't know, I have a whole list of books on my, I really like The Psychology of Money. It's like a newer one by Morgan Housel.
Do you do
tons of great investing books?
Do you do audibles or do you like paperback books?
Kindle is my primary consumption method. Being a tech guy, I love the like paper white display. I love that you can have 1,000 books in like the size of a little notepad. I like Audible. Every time I do Audible, I'm really happy with it, and I think I retain the knowledge equally well. In fact, sometimes I forget if I had listened to or read a book. But I don't know. I don't drive much, and I like listen to Audible. Like, isn't really part of my like. I know if I'm like in the house, I'm like usually watching something as opposed to just listening. So, yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys do? You guys are podcasters, so you have to represent Audible.
Yeah, I actually do Audibles all the time. That's like my primary mode of listening is just Audibles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to fall asleep.
That's awesome. I mean, honestly, I should do it more. You fall asleep reading, Greg?
Yep, all the time. Yeah, so I prefer to just listen.
Yeah, I can't just like
better than falling asleep on TikTok. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't blame you. Like in high school, like I hated, like I'm still not a very voracious reader, much to my embarrassment. Like I wish I would, super successful people, I think they often read tons, and like maybe my success is exactly where it should be based on how much I read, which is probably more than some people and a lot less than a lot of others. But I mean, I should maybe just be doing more Audible just to force it down,
I mean, you got to do what you like, right? Like that's the individuality about the journey is, finding what works for you and what doesn't, and then going with it.
If I did what I liked, I'd just be on TikTok for 20 hours a day instead of 16 hours a day like I currently am.
Well, why not increase those numbers?
Just do research.
I'm going to die of exhaustion if I watch any more TikTok.
Do you create a lot of TikTok reels for Personal Finance Club?
Not as many as I should. My Instagram engagement is kind of dropping lately. I think for several reasons. One is that there's just more financial accounts in the space, so there's like shared audience. Two is I think people are less excited about investing in finance right now because of like the bad macroeconomic landscape, inflation, market down, pending recession, whatever. And three, I think Instagram's overall engagement might be suffering. Like just my sense of the world, like my mother, who is the age of a mother, if you're 41, says she spends way more time on TikTok than Instagram. I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to get on TikTok. And so, yeah, we have 110,000 followers on TikTok, but TikTok followers are useless. Like, every single video stands on its own. So it's like cool and not cool. It's cool because like you can have never done TikTok before and like on day one compete head to head with like Charlie D'Amelio or whatever. But the bad part is like, if you are Charlie D'Amelio and your next video sucks, I mean, maybe she's a bad example because she's like, people will just like, just look at her videos or whatever. But like, if you're me and your next video sucks, it gets no views. And so like every single video has to be, viral basically.
Yeah. And then you're kind of just competing for, always putting out the most viral content. And it can be hard to compete in that space.
I agree. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of cleverness, and like, some of the viral TikToks are really, really simple, like someone sitting in their car doing a rant or something. But like, I tend to think like the high production value, high effort ones are the ones that do better more often. People just want to, it's like, why is Mr. Beast so successful? Why is Mr. Beast so successful? Because like he puts a ton of work into every video, like crazy and crazier. So I think that's kind of what you got to do for TikTok now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, did you have any setbacks during your journey that kind of thought you might not recover from them?
Thought I might not recover from. I mean, there was tons of dead ends and stuff, like businesses that didn't work or ideas that didn't work or changing paths. I don't know. I should have a better answer for that. Like I definitely like bought some stocks that went to zero and, but I don't think I ever was, and I guess like constantly to this day, I have days where I'm like, I'm wasting my life. This is never going to work. Like even, I think to someone, I remember having like 300 Instagram followers and seeing someone with 50,000 Instagram followers and thinking they're made, they're rich, they do this whole time, they're set for life, whatever. And then like I talked that like, as I grew, I started talking, I'm thinking of one specific person and she's like, I don't make any money. She's like, this is just work and nothing else. And I was like, oh, that's a bummer. I just assumed everyone with like 5+ digits of followers was rich. And so now with like 400,000 followers or whatever I have, like, there are days where I'm like, this is dumb. Revenue's slowing. I'm wasting my life. I'm never going to be successful, whatever. And I think that entrepreneurship and probably life in general has that kind of like emotional roller coaster ride to it where one day things go well. You talk to a girl, you get a phone number, you make a sale, get a promotion, whatever. And you're like, oh my God, like just going to the moon. It's going to be great. And then like a week later, she doesn't text back. Your boss yells at you, don't make a sale, whatever. And then you're like, oh dude, this is turning bad. I'm like a failure. And so like, it's easy to take those like short-term trends and just project them out to like great success or utter failure. But it's a rocky road and can feel like a roller coaster. But yeah, okay. That was a long way of not answering your question.
No, it's okay.
I love the analogies.
Really good at telling analogies, and 8 out of 10 of them don't make any sense. But every once in a while, I get lucky.
So was there a specific reason you got on the FI path? I know you said like your dad opened a Roth IRA for you, and you would just for fun open Fidelity accounts to help your friends get on that path. But like, was there a reason you specifically got on the path? Would you relate it to like your parents or something happened in your life?
I think I discovered about the concept of FI like after I had done it. I think it's like I think I'm a lot older than you guys. I still feel young, but compared to you guys, I'm old. But I remember like there's an article, my memory is fading, but there's an article when I was 19 talking about how I was going to retire at 25. And so like, was that FI? I think that's just like the arrogant, like brashness of a college kid who doesn't, who's heard of the .com boom and doesn't know like how real life works. But I definitely like, I guess I looked at it as more from a tech perspective where I'm like, there are tech companies that are blowing up and you can hit it big and like not have to work. And that was attractive to me. And then when I finally did sell my company, not at 25, but at 34, and then worked for 2 more years, and at the age of 36, started like doing more research on this. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think maybe then I was like familiar with the 4% rule and, some more of the concepts. Honestly, like when I even started Personal Finance Club, I wasn't really like, I was listening to Katie, Millennial Money Honey, on your show from 2 episodes ago, and she was saying how she has a typical story of like finding the Mr. Money Mustache blog. Like, that's not my story. Like, I didn't. I mean, I know actually I've met him now. He commented on my post yesterday. It was very flattering. But like, I hung out with him at a conference, and like, super smart guy. I feel like I hope that it's not too arrogant of me to say like I think we have a lot in common. But like, I kind of came across him after I started doing my own thing, just because that's what I like doing. So yeah, I just kind of was more about like getting enough money to retire. I didn't really have the same path set forth by like the FI community that a lot of other people are on.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, you know, like you said, that's not a very common way about how you found it, which is, it's always awesome, right? Because hearing how people find FI is just, it's so unique, and it's very different for everyone.
Yeah, I remember like I read Susie Orman's book like in college or something, and then I like listened to Dave Ramsey's podcast for a while, and then I was like, you know what? There's like these 2 old people who both kind of maybe speak to specific demographics, not to say which demographics to which people, but I was like, there maybe needs to be a new voice in this like space that can like, and so I was like, I'm going to start a new brand called Personal Finance Club. And then like 6 months into doing it, I like realized there was like a conference called FinCon full of thousands of people who all have financial, like including you guys that have podcasts and including, you know, and I'm like, oh, I'm like the third one. I'm the 3,000th one. There's just 2 big ones, you know, and there's maybe some like, you know, there's also like other big ones like Mr. Money Mustache or whatever. So yeah, that's how I found it, like the sad way, by realizing that I wasn't all that special.
It's a nice, I'll have to go to FinCon just so that I can be humbled again back into my spot of, we're just a beginning.
You should. FinCon's really great. It's like full of really good people. And like, I don't know, like I'm normally not a fan of conferences too much. It just seems like people, you know, wasting their company's money and getting drunk and not actually being productive. But like FinCon seems it's like full of smart people, nice people, altruistic people, all doing it for the right reasons. It's kind of funny who doesn't show up. Like you don't see a lot of insurance salesmen, if any. It's like the people who are there like all know their stuff. And so the insurance salesmen like know to stay clear. No offense to, I mean, maybe offense to insurance salesmen. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know, at least they're not going to try to sell us annuities.
That's true. It's like it's a safe space from IULs for a while.
Yeah. Are you currently working on any new companies?
Well, I'm working on a Personal Finance Club. It's like my full-time job. I have two full-time employees, Vivi and Shane. We just introduced a 401k through Vanguard, and so now I have like mouths to feed. So we gotta grow this business. And other than that, how many do I currently like? There's that one. There's What's That Charge will still exist. I still own part of Nickel. I think that's it. So yeah, that's enough though. I need less, not more.
On the more personal side, you know, besides beach volleyball, do you have any other, you know, sports that you enjoy doing or anything that you enjoy doing overall?
Well, not golf. I already knocked that sport. In college, I ran track. I went to, I had a track scholarship at the University of Michigan. I actually broke a school record at Michigan, which stood for 21 years until January of this year. Some little punk who is an extremely nice guy, and I emailed him, and he was very nice and is much faster than I ever was. Crushed my record, but that's pretty good that it stood for so long. And yeah, I don't know. I like hiking and traveling, and I have stand-up paddle boards. I cruise around the bay on my paddle boards, and I don't know, what else do I like doing? I like playing games. I have a whole like shelf of games over here. Maybe you can see them if that gets a little clearer. There's a lot of games.
A lot of games, a lot of books.
Yeah, games and books, although most of the books are my Kindle now. Again, another section that for people who are watching this or listening to this, not watching it, will not be interesting. Sorry about that.
So
here's a shelf of games and books.
So you also said you took that, I think, a year off and you traveled. Is that true?
That is true.
What would you say your favorite place to travel was?
favorite place. It's so hard because, like, you know, traveling is not really that much fun just because, like, you happen to be somewhere else on Earth. It's like fun because of like the experience, and like the experience is like so heavily informed by like what you come across and what you happen to do. And traveling, you get like this, like, you have to be out of your comfort zone and be mixed up because you're at different places. Whereas like when you're in your house, you just go to the same grocery store and come back to the same place. And so I don't know, Croatia, Australia, Colombia. I don't know. They're all really nice places. Okay. I only speak English except for some like really bad Spanish. So, but I mean, I guess Croatia isn't. But I mean, English is like the cheat code for the U.S. though, because like, you know, it's like if anyone's going to speak a second language, it's going to be English. And so it's like if you're a German traveling in Portugal, you're just going to speak English the whole time because like they're not going to speak German. You're not going to speak Portuguese, most likely. And so if you're American, just be like, hey guys, speak my language.
Yeah, that's fair. Did you utilize any travel hacking methods while you were doing that?
What is travel hacking, like the credit card
like
thing,
using credit card points, stuff like that?
Nah, I'm not really into that. Like, I mean, the credit card industry makes billions of dollars a year, and like, you know, for a consumer to like out clever them is you know, maybe perfectly possible, but you know, on average, they're going to win by a lot. And I just would, instead of trying to jump through hoops and play games with credit cards, I just much rather like spend as little as I can, you know, just like find the deals. And so I have like I have two credit cards. My oldest credit card, which I never cancel and have some recurring costs on. Then my main credit card, which just has straight across the board 2% cash back, direct deposit in my account, and then I don't worry about credit card points. I just spend less money.
Okay.
Is it the Fidelity card?
It is the Fidelity card.
It's because Greg is from...
I'm a Fidelity stan.
Greg is from Detroit, so you guys have that connection. He knows.
Oh, nice. Is that a Detroit-based company? No, they're based in Ohio, aren't they?
No, but Greg is based in Detroit. So like, you know...
Yeah, but what's that to do with Fidelity?
Oh, no. He just knew, right? Like, because you both went to, like, University of Michigan, or, like, you both spent time in Michigan. It was just a joke. Just a really bad joke.
Born and raised 29 years in Michigan. Saying we got the Michigan kinetic or a psychic connection.
Absolutely. We should be euchre partners next conference.
Oh, yeah. I'm really good at euchre.
Do you have a favorite dish?
Dish?
Yes, something to eat.
Food? Oh, yeah. My first favorite food is sushi. My second favorite food is sandwiches, and my third favorite food is leftovers. So I would love a leftover sushi sandwich.
Okay.
If I ever can get my hands on one.
All right.
Actually, that's probably gross, but yeah, I don't know. I love sushi. I'm a California kid. I don't know, tacos. I'm not a California kid. I'm a California adult. I'm a Michigan kid.
Do you ever travel back to Michigan? Or do you usually spend most of your time in California?
I mean, mostly here. My brother's family still lives in Michigan, and actually they're currently in San Diego visiting. And so I'm doing this podcast while they're out being a tourist or something. He has got 3 kids. But yeah, I try to get back there like once or twice a year. Depends. It's been less during the pandemic. Yeah, still have like friends there. Love Michigan. Yeah, I would... if it weren't for winters and its lack of ocean adjacency, I could spend my whole life in Michigan for sure.
I mean, we have Great Lakes.
No, that's legit. That's true.
You can surf Lake Michigan.
That's chilly. I know. Unsalted. Isn't there a documentary about that?
I don't know about documentary, but I just know that fact.
I mean, I don't even surf. I just like beach volleyball. But you're right. There's plenty of beach volleyball in Michigan. But the problem is only like 3 or 4 months a year because I think it just gets too cold.
Yeah. Oh, they do have indoor beach volleyball locations now.
Oh.
So you could play all year round.
Yeah.
You should consider moving back.
I can just walk to the beach from where I live and play all year round.
He's trying to get you to move back. He's like, I actually work for the state of Michigan. We're just trying to get you to move back there.
Yeah. Pure Michigan.
Yeah.
You'll get a commission if you get me to move back.
Are there any events that people can catch you at this year or next year, like Economy or FinCon or
everything?
Those are the two that I basically plan to go to every year. Economy, spelled with a E. Well, I guess spelled with two E's. And FinCon. I don't have any other plans to be places at the moment. But yeah, if you come to those, you can meet me in person. And you can see that I'm quite tall. And probably you might say I'm pretty nice, or you might think I'm a jerk. I don't know. That'll be up to you to decide.
Perfect. Well, Jeremy, it's been a pleasure. We will make sure to let people know how they can find you and Personal Finance Club. It's
great.
Yeah. Instagram, TikTok. Is there any platform that you're not on that people can find you?
You will not find me on MySpace. You will not find me on Friendster. You will not find me on Pinterest, although I've heard that Pinterest can actually be quite good, so we might add Pinterest. Don't quote me on that one. You will not find me on Match.com.
Oof.
You will not find me on what other platforms?
AOL.
Farmers Only, because I'm not a farmer, so I applied. They wouldn't let me. Any of those anti-Semitic sites will not be on them. Just like the big social media ones. Instagram's where most of the magic happens.
Okay, perfect. Well, we will put all the links to your description below, but it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Austin and Greg. It has been entirely my honor. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And hopefully we get to do this again soon.
Great.
Perfect. Well,
see you guys later.
This has been an episode of Life, Love, and Pursuit of FI with your host, Austin Culp.
And Greg Gaskin.
And Jeremy from Personal Finance Club. We hope you have a good rest of your day.